Hi, I'm Divine Harmony with the Cosmic Insight video blog for the week of Monday, July 4th through Sunday, July 10th. I am doing these video blogs in anticipation of the Women's Only online conference, the Sex God Yoga Conference, coming in July, that I'm a part of along with 30 or more other amazing teachers who are offering their wisdom and experience for women who are on the path of awakening, who are interested in learning about how sexuality and spirituality are two sides of the same coin. And it's an amazing opportunity to join in a global sisterhood who's all interested in rising together. As you may have heard, the Divine Feminine's on the rise, and it's starting in you and me. For more information on this conference, I will talk about it at the end of this video blog. But these blogs, I used to do these blogs, and then I stopped for a while because the amazing sister who helped me film them, we kind of lived in different places in the United States. And I just restarted doing them for this conference, and I'm actually going to stick with them because I'm having fun with them. But in these, unlike the ones I used to do, I weave the asteroid goddesses and the dark goddess into the forecast. So I'm not just talking about traditional aspects, Sun through Pluto and the nodes and Chiron. I'm also looking at Pallas Athena, Juno, Vesta, Ceres, the 4 asteroid goddesses. I'm looking at Black Moon Lilith and Eris, the 2 dark goddesses. So this is the Divine Feminine / Goddess forecast for the week. For men and women, because we all have our inner Divine Feminine and Masculine. So this week starts off with a powerful new moon in Cancer. The new moon's exact at 4:01 a.m. Pacific time. I wrote a whole blog about this, and you can find it on my website, www.divineharmony.org. The lunar insight is found under the astrology blog, and so if you go to the toolbar, there's Cosmic Insight, and then you go down to astrology blog. It'll be under there, so for an absolutely in-depth analysis of the new moon, you can read that. But in short, this new moon in Cancer is quite potent. There's a couple things going on with it. First of all, it's in Cancer, so new moons are times to plant seeds, set intentions, move in new directions. Now that Mars is direct, thank God, we've got energy, will, and drive to go after things and make them happen. In Cancer, this can relate to home and family, like literal, moving, buying a house, decorating your home, making it feel more homey and nurturing. There can be new situations arising in your family dynamics. This is also, though, about an inner process. Cancer is about where we feel nurtured and nourished, where we feel safe and secure. And so this is an amazing new moon to call in more of what we feel anchored and grounded into. If we already have that in our lives, then it can be about, more of that coming in, or if we don't, it can be about calling in what it is we need to feel emotionally sustained. Cancer rules the 4th house at the bottom of the chart, and this has to do with roots and foundation, both literal but also emotional and inward. This is also the house of the soul. And so this is an amazing new moon to really get in touch with your soul and its needs and desires. We're not wanting to be running our energy and using new moon intentions to call in the ego's desires, because honestly, those aren't going to be very fulfilling, and at some point you're going to be wanting something else. So this is a time to really get deep within the self and get clear on what you need for your evolution, for your destiny, for your growth, and then not just set the intention, but then start taking positive action in the right direction. Now, this new moon is opposite Pluto, so there could be power control dynamics playing out in relationships, but also death processes. It's like letting go of the old so that you make way for the new. I titled the new moon blog, New Birth After the Death of the Old, or On Top of the Death of the Old. And so this lunation is very much about that. It's like something needs to die, whether it's a literal situation, an emotional one, a pattern, a karmic way of being, ancestral stuff that we keep playing out. That can be a big piece of this new moon in Cancer, because Cancer has to do with our ancestry and what we carry over lineage-wise. And so Pluto opposite the new moon is really potent. The Saturn-Neptune square also activates this new moon. Neptune trines the new moon, which is lovely, dreamy, idealistic, spiritual, romantic even, but Saturn is quincunx it. And so Saturn is the reality check. It's like, hello, are you seeing the whole picture? Are you wearing rose-colored glasses and seeing what you want to see? I love Neptune and I love Pisces. I have them both strong in my own natal chart. But the shadow side of Neptune and Pisces is denial, delusion, deception, avoidance of reality, playing the victim or the martyr, addiction, turning to addictions to numb out and not deal with what is. And Saturn square Neptune is kind of forcing us all to deal with what is. If we choose to do that is all up to us. If you don't, you'll just be miserable, you know, as you're kind of resisting reality. But this new moon activates both of them. So for more information on that, check the astrology blog and also weekly horoscopes. They'll be up Monday by noon, and I'll have a listing of, or rather a write-up of what this means for you in your actual sign. And I always recommend you read horoscopes for sun sign and rising sign, also known as the ascendant, because they both will have pertinent information for you. Now, Monday, the only other aspect that day is Mercury, the voice, the mind, the intellect. He quincunxes Saturn. And then the next day, Tuesday the 5th, he trines Neptune. So we have the new moon triggering the Saturn-Neptune square. We've got Mercury triggering the Saturn-Neptune square. So lots of stuff up around what is real, what is not, what is truth, what is a lie, what is illusion, what is fantasy. Mercury Saturn can be a heavy kind of influence where it's like you're needing to get serious and focus, but it can be difficult. There can be low energy, depression, noticing everything that's wrong. The next day, though, Tuesday the 5th, Mercury trine Neptune is actually lovely. I mean, it's wonderful for intuition, for creativity, for dreams. It's a harmonious aspect, so it's usually the more positive manifestations, but because it's triggering the Saturn-Neptune square and Saturn is squaring Neptune, we do need to be aware of where we're checking out, using calling something our intuition when it's actually like us not wanting to see, or us wanting to see something that's not really there. Reality checks are kind of important. Paying attention to your body sensations, paying attention to your emotions and where they sit in your body, giving your emotions expression, very important. I highly recommend for emotional work a book called Emotional Intimacy by Robert Masters. He's one of my teachers, and it's an excellent book, actually. He goes over all the main emotions, not just main like anger and sadness and whatever, but like there's 20-something emotions in there. And when you find a particular emotion really coming up for you, you can go to the chapter on it, and he has an amazing, insight and write-up on it, meditations to do to get more in touch with it. Really good book to have right now with all the planets and the water signs, because it's like an emotional deluge is coming. And you want to navigate that. We don't want to shut down and just numb out and not deal with the emotions, because they're going to come back, maybe in a more intense form. But we also don't want to just dive into them and then get sucked in by them and, not be able to come up for air. And so it's an amazing resource for anybody who's interested. So that's Tuesday. Wednesday, we have Venus in Cancer trine now direct Mars in Scorpio. Typically, this is a beautiful aspect. These are the divine lovers, and they're harmoniously linking up in water signs. Typically, this is a great aspect for romance, for creativity, for, emotional expression in healthy ways and heart opening. But both Venus and Mars are heading into trigger Eris, the goddess of discord and chaos, and Uranus, the god of upheaval and change. And so these two, normally their beautiful aspect would be great, but because they're heading into kind of face off with more intense outer bodies, it's kind of a different energy playing out with these two. So Venus squares Eris on Wednesday, and then Mars doesn't connect with Eris until Friday. But these two, Venus in Cancer square Eris, it's like the goddess of love and beauty and what I want and what is important to me is head to head with the goddess of discord, chaos, and upheaval. I've talked about Eris before in these blogs. She's, if you know about her myth, if not, you can Google it, but she was not invited to a wedding and she was really pissed. All the other gods were. They didn't invite her on purpose because they thought she kind of was a little overly, not fun and maybe aggressive, angry. And so she got pissed. They threw an apple to the other goddesses, and the apple said, "To the fairest," and then all the goddesses fought over the apple. She gets a bad rap. She's often seen as someone who just comes in and creates disturbances when there weren't any, but actually what she did is she revealed an underlying competition and jealousy between the goddesses that was already there. She didn't incite that. It was already there, and she just did something to kind of make it come up so everybody could see it. And so Eris does that. She reveals the truth. She reveals what's hidden, what nobody wants to look at, what certain people are very invested in us not looking at. And she pulls back the veil and goes, "Look at this." And so Venus square Eris can bring up some intense dynamics in relationships, in financial situations, in our values, and our self-worth. Like really needing to look at what we don't want to look at, what we're sweeping under the carpet, what we're ignoring in ourselves and situations in our lives and the world at large is very important this week, especially as Mars makes its way to quincunx Eris on Friday, which I'll get to in a moment. Wednesday, the Sun co-joins Mercury. And so Sun-Mercury is a day to pay attention to what you hear, what you think, what you read, the information that comes in. Aha moments and insights, all of a sudden seeing the bigger picture in some particular way is all possible. We need to keep in mind that both the Sun and Mercury are heading into opposition with Pluto. And so the Sun opposes Pluto on Thursday, and Mercury also opposes Pluto on Thursday. So again, power control dynamics, like intense things coming up that we didn't know about or didn't see. It's a really good energy to use for research, investigation, penetrating conversations, getting to the truth, dealing with the shadow, digging deep. But we want to steer clear of trying to control others, dominate others. We also very much want to steer clear of deception and delusion and denial. Whether we're deceiving ourselves or we're deceiving others, there will be karmic consequences for that. Like now's the time to really want to see the truth at any cost. Commitment to truth is an important one right now. It will take you far. And then Wednesday evening, the 6th, Mercury sextiles the North Node, and then into the next morning, Thursday the 7th, the Sun sextiles the North Node. So Sun-Mercury conjunction, aligning with the North Node. So again, really paying attention to what you hear, the information that comes in. It can be very evolutionary. It can be something that catapults you into a whole new direction in your life. Mercury is essentially triggering the Pluto North Node trine, which was exact in June, but it's still very much within orb. Pluto and the North Node are opening doors for massive evolution, shift, and change. But it will only come into your life if you are committed to integrity, honesty, showing up, and doing the work. Shadow work, particularly. The work that nobody wants to do because they don't want to see their shit. And so that is happening from Wednesday to Thursday. Then also on Thursday, we've got Mercury opposite Pluto, and then the Sun opposite Pluto. And so it's a potent day. The week starts off potent. The new moon is opposite Pluto. And then we've got Sun and Mercury opposite Pluto. And so again, it's like something is dying. Something is revealing itself for what it is. There can be shadow dynamics up. But it's a great week for diving deep. It's a great week for shadow work, for therapy, for working with your dreams, paying attention to what's coming up from the subconscious and the unconscious. It's actually a wonderful energy for that, but it can be a little disruptive. It's Pluto, he's the roto-rooter of the zodiac. So he comes in to clean out where the shit has gotten stuck. And that's literally, you can get a colonic when you're going through Pluto transits, but also emotionally, spiritually, psychically, otherwise. And so it's a time to clear out the stuck crap. And, you know, whether that's people, places, things, attitudes, emotions, ancestral ties, it's a time for clearing it out. And it makes me think of Rumi and his poem, which I may not say exactly the way he wrote it, but, you know, something's coming in to clear you out for some new delight. And that's important to be aware of. This new moon, it's amazing. Amazing new things can get set into motion, but you got to clear out the space first before the new can come in. The longer you hold on to what is no longer good for you, no longer healthy, you know, no longer working, the longer you're going to resist being able to walk into a new direction, because as long as you're looking at one door that's closed or closing, you're going to miss the other one that's opening. So that's important to remember this week. Also on Thursday, Venus squares Uranus. So from Wednesday to Thursday, Venus triggers the Uranus-Eris conjunction. And if you recall, that was exact June 8th, and you can read about it on my website and my weekly astrology forecast. And I believe that's when I started these videos, so you can listen to the first video. But Uranus and Eris are they're a wake-up, shake-up crew. Uranus is the rebel, the revolutionary, the great awakener. Eris is the goddess of discord and upheaval and chaos. But she's also the goddess of harmony and balance. What she does is she shines a light on what is out of balance, out of harmony, so that you can be very clear on what it is that you need to deal with and address. And then when you do, that's when the harmony and the balance can come back in. So, you know, she doesn't come in to create chaos just for the hell of it. She creates chaos when things have gotten stuck, stagnant, they're no longer working, nobody wants to deal with it, nobody wants to look at it, they're hiding it under, you know, the carpet or in the closet or whatever, thinking, oh, it'll go away, and it won't. And she comes in and goes, yanks it out and says, deal with this shit. Sorry for all the swear words. It's that kind of week. So Venus-Uranus is a time for embracing the new and releasing the old. It can be a time of unexpected events, but some of them could be exciting, some of them could be anxiety-producing, but the only thing you can know when Uranus is involved is change is underway. Change in values, change in relationships, change in direction, you know, all of that's possible. And then Thursday evening, Juno moves back into Scorpio. So if you recall, this whole last month, we had Juno hovering at 29 Libra, a very karmic completion degree. So Juno is the asteroid goddess of partnership and marriage. She has to do with relationships, commitments, marriage, business partnerships as well. Also relationships that have anything to do with money shared can be related to Juno. And so Juno moving back into Scorpio, she's going into these deep waters, emotional, intense, the desire to merge, the desire to, you know, be in union. A lot of, you know, and very powerful sexual energy can be a part of this as well. But we need to be aware that we still have Mars in Scorpio. He's going over the last pass of the degrees he went over. He's digging up a lot of shadow, making us look at where are we being run by our lower chakra desires, our ego needs, where are we being run by our shadow, acting it out, or where are we afraid of our shadow and then not even looking at it. And so Juno and Scorpio can kind of take us into those waters as well. And we need to be really aware in relationships, how we're navigating them and where we're operating from. Juno is going to make her way to align with Black Moon Lilith. That's actually not until September 11th, 9/11. But they did this once before, May 29th, so you can maybe think back, look at your journal, look in your calendar, see what may have been going on for you then. But Juno with Lilith is a very intense combination, and they're essentially building from now until September into their second conjunction. And Juno, traditionally, she's the wife, and she makes compromises for relationship, and, you know, partnership's really important to her. Lilith is super independent, fierce, a force to be reckoned with. So you've got the goddess who will make compromises to be in partnership, and then you have the goddess who will not compromise. And you put them together in the intense sign of Scorpio, and all kinds of interesting dynamics can be coming up in relationships and in financial situations. There's a need to have healthy outlets for anger and rage, expressing things from a heart-centered place, you know, so that you're dealing with the energies wisely. There can be all kinds of interesting dynamics to navigate over the next couple of months. And I wrote something quite long about it I think actually in this week's forecast, the written forecast, so you can refer to that if you want more information. Now, Friday the 8th, Venus trines Chiron, which is a lovely aspect, especially after all the intensity with Venus, Mars, Eris, Uranus. So Venus, Chiron, Venus is the heart, Chiron is the wounded healer. This can be a great day for heart healing, for emotional healing, for sharing from the heart with others. Great day to be in therapy, to be getting body work, to be taking care of the self. Self-care is so important, and Venus, Chiron can support that. Mercury sextiles Jupiter that day, and so Mercury Jupiter is great for communication and for learning and for opening the mind and really wanting to understand the bigger picture. But that's the night Mars quincunx Eris. This is an important aspect. It's happened twice already because Mars was retrograde. So when before he went retrograde, he went over all the degrees he went over during his retrograde process the first time, and in that process he quincunxed Eris and Uranus. And then he went retrograde and he quincunxed Eris and Uranus again. And then he went direct last week, and now he's quincunxing Eris, and then he'll quincunx Uranus, I believe next week, Mars, on Wednesday the 13th. So we're having our last pass of this, and whenever a retrograde planet makes an aspect and makes it 3 times, you know that's a theme. It's like you're being given an opportunity to look at this, deal with this, not just once, not just twice, but 3 times. And that's the case with Mars, Uranus, Eris. So Mars, Eris can be very fierce and intense. Like Mars in Scorpio, we're being asked to deal with our shadow. Our obsession with our shadow side, our fear of our shadow side, lower chakra issues. Scorpio, is related definitely to the 2nd chakra, sexuality, power, control. And if we are afraid of that and shut it down, or if we're obsessed with it and act out of it, Mars in Scorpio has been digging that up for us. And Mars with Eris can bring in some upheaval, like particularly for not doing the work or not acknowledging stuff. Eris can come in and really upset the apple cart. Because remember, she throws the apple of discord in when we're not wanting to look at stuff. So now is actually a really good time to be doing your work and wanting to look at your stuff. Because if you don't, the universe will, come in and have to make different arrangements. It's always better when you're kind of being proactive and on board with your own evolution and growth, as opposed to being dragged, kicking and screaming. So Mars Eris can be a potent force to be reckoned with, and a lot of anger and rage can get unearthed with this energy. Mars is in Scorpio, Eris is in Aries. These are the 2 traditional signs of Mars. Mars rules Aries and Scorpio before Pluto was discovered. And so a lot of energy around anger, rage, will, drive, desire, control, power can be up for us to look at and to navigate, and really look at the karmic patterns playing out in our lives and how we've acted out of these energies unconsciously, or how we've shut them down in ourselves, and what do we need to do to come into the middle so that we can be relating to these parts of the self from an empowered, whole, conscious place. So that's Friday. Saturday, there's only one aspect. The Sun in Cancer sextiles Jupiter. So Sun Jupiter is, again, great for learning, exploring, expanding our mind. From Friday to Saturday, both Mercury and the Sun have linked with Jupiter. And this whole week, Mercury and the Sun opposed Pluto, and then sextiled the North Node, and now they're sextiling Jupiter. So again, these 2 are triggering the Pluto North Node Jupiter trine. So Jupiter is on the North Node and trine Pluto. So amazing opportunities for evolution, like big time, self-mastery, inner work, humility, discernment, aligning with a deeper level of integrity, or getting some integrity if you don't have any to begin with. But it requires that we do the work. It's not a silver spoon in the mouth. So Sun Jupiter is an amazing time for anchoring more into humility, discernment, doing work, doing the things you need to expand your consciousness. And then Sunday the 10th, Mercury in Cancer squares Eris and trines Mars. And usually the trine would be more harmonious, but because it's triggering Mars and Eris, which is already, you know, an aspect that we're having this week, can be a little more feisty. So Mercury square Eris, watch your words. And listen to what you hear. And also listen to what you don't hear, what's not being said, but is actually clearly there and not being addressed. Watch out for power control dynamics with others. Instead, use this energy to be fierce and, you know, penetrate to the truth of yourself, of others, of the world around you. And then later that evening, Venus in Cancer square Ceres. And so Venus, goddess of love and beauty, Ceres, the great mother asteroid goddess. There can be kind of tension between what we want for comfort and security and what we need for nurturing and nourishment. And, you know, different needs, like Cancer and Aries are quite different. Cancer wants, you know, sensitivity and emotional connection, whereas Aries wants like independence and freedom and is more fiery. And so there can be a need for us to kind of get clear on our needs within and how to express them with others, and also being able to hear what other people need and allowing them to bring their truth to the table. It's definitely a good week to get clear on your inner truth, and also maybe get clear on your inner lie, you know, where you're lying to yourself, where you're not seeing yourself clearly, where you're not telling the truth, where you're not doing the work, or whatever it is. It's definitely one of those weeks to align yourself with a commitment to truth and to remember that the truth will set you free. So that is the week. As I said, the Sex God Yoga Conference will be in July. I believe it's the 18th through the 22nd. If you're interested in learning more about it, you can go to the website www.whereismyguru, with GURU.com / sex-god-yoga. And there's over 30 women involved in this conference. I'm really excited about it. I'm a participant. I have a lecture on astrology and the divine feminine, and I have a practice offering. All the different people are giving practices. Some of them are yoga teachers. I'm not. So I do a guided meditation actually with a great mother, which I just recorded a few days ago, and I'm very excited about that. So I will put the link to the conference in the description of the YouTube video. I have a coupon code down there that you can use as well to get 20% off the conference price. And I hope you'll check it out. And I think it's going to be amazing. I'm really glad to circle up with the sisterhood virtually. There's so many sisterhood gatherings happening right now, and I am so very grateful. There's a lot of healing happening in the divine feminine right now as we all rise together and stand in our power and heal our hearts. And when we all do it together, it creates a beautiful magic that the world needs right now. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful week. Set your new moon intentions on Monday. Call in what you are ready to anchor into your life, and be ready and willing to work for it. Blessings.